U.S. is investigating an unauthorized release of classified documents that assess Israel's plan to attack Iran. The documents are attributed to the National Geospatial Intelligence Agency and National Security Agency, NSA. They note that Israel was still moving military assets in place for a military strike in response to Iran's October 1st attack. They were allegedly shared with the U.S., Great Britain, Canada, New Zealand, and Australia. The docs are marked top secret and were posted to the Telegram messaging app and were first reported by CNN. The investigation is also looking into how the docs were obtained, including whether it was an intentional leak or a hack.
In the wake of Hamas leader Yahya Sinwar's death, the U.S. has urged Israel to press for a ceasefire in Gaza. The U.S. has also cautioned Israel not to further expand military operations in northern Lebanon. Still, Israel's leadership has continued to stress it will not let Iran's missiles attack go unanswered. So this is, again, confirmation that behind the scenes there are always plans to attack countries and have war, and there's a bipartisan foreign policy establishment that wants that. There's a lot of reporting in Bob Woodward's new book about an actually incredible agreement among many Republicans and Democrats. There's a section of Lindsey Graham's conversations with Joe Biden about preparing to support Saudi Arabia with ground troops or anything else they might need. And Lindsey Graham saying that Republicans won't sign on to this if Biden is the president. But if Democrats have a majority, then they'll do what Biden says. Or Trump, if it's Trump, you can never sell Democrats on it. I mean, it goes to say that there's more skepticism of the president's unilateral authority to make war when it's the other party controlling Congress, which is a good thing, I think. Yeah. What do you make of all this?
I mean, there's going to be an investigation. It's still alleged, but I think what you're saying about Bob Woodward's, the quotes that come out, they have been very concerned about nuclear escalation, and in a way that I was really surprised. I mean, we talk about that in the media, and of course, folks who come out of the military-industrial complex of D.C. talk about it on air, but to hear the quotes from Bob Woodward about how they threatened, Lloyd Austin basically didn't threaten Russia, for instance, for potentially using nukes or going in. And of course, Russia's defense minister said, "Are you threatening us, Mr. Austin?" And he said, "I am the leader of the most powerful military of all time. I don't make threats." This is pretty jarring at this point because they play these games. They play these military games, anticipating all different types of scenarios. They're obviously very sophisticated at this, but what's hard is when you have an actor who's acting out of the norm operation. You can't, the way Netanyahu's acting right now is not the way that our establishment has prepared, because he's so concerned about his own political survival that he is willing to escalate a war in the Mideast, which
and he doesn't care what we say at all.
No, he doesn't.
Now, this is a great opportunity. I said this last week. It's great that the leader of the Hamas attack on October 7th has been killed. This is a great opportunity to now say, okay, enough is enough. Mission accomplished. Unfurl the banner, honestly, and de-escalate this war before they kill literally every single person in Gaza. I mean, if that's what they want to do, we need to wash our hands of it. Because our administration has said that's not okay. Right. We've said it's not okay, but we've not done anything to stop it. That's true of Biden. That's going to be true of Harris. I don't see any difference actually from her on contrasting with the administration's position on Gaza and what Israel is doing. Look, enough is enough. If their policy is actually, we will support Israel regardless, we don't like what Netanyahu's doing, but we're not going to try to stop him, then they should just admit that.
I think
that's what it feels like it actually is.
What's really difficult for them right now is it's too little too late. So now they are threatening that they will sanction them, Israel, if they continue, and that's serious. It's very serious. But that's like what you say, I don't know, in October of last year, not in October of 2024, but October of 2023. Mm-hmm. Now they're in a situation where if there is escalation, it's going to be very difficult to pass in Congress or otherwise anything that disarms Israel, because Israel will be surrounded. And of course, that's Netanyahu's game. He wants to escalate, so he continues to get those arms. He continues to have the U.S.'s support and Europe's support. Right now, it's this indecisive moment where obviously other countries are putting sanctions on Israel and not providing arms anymore. And I think that is per direction of the United States, because it is more difficult for the United States to disentangle, and it's not enough to just pressure. It's very hard for them to punish Netanyahu's leadership. Which
But we
is
could just stop giving them free stuff.
No, I agree with you.
Yeah.
But now there's a situation in which, they've got Hezbollah on one end and Hamas on the other, and Iran might escalate. So in that situation, we are stuck as the United States.
Yeah, I don't want
with our treaty. Not that it's my
I don't want to
belief.
sanction them. I don't want to haul them before some international court that, in my view, lacks all legitimacy. I just want to stop giving them free money to expand a war with their neighbors. I want them to make peace. They have responded to the terrorist attack. I think it was legitimate to kill the people who were the masterminds were responsible for the horrific loss of life that occurred. But we are not willing, the U.S. should not be willing to contribute to the outbreak of World War III. And Iran, I don't think actually wants that either.
100%. That's the other thing. They've signaled, and we see that with
Terrorists
our
want
documents,
this. Nobody else
that Iran
does.
doesn't want it. Nobody wants it. Why are we escalating it? The Israeli people don't want it. The Israeli people, the majority, not all, but the majority of Israeli people are frustrated with Netanyahu. Oh, you could be so targeted in those little walkie-talkie attacks and target the Hamas leader. But meanwhile, in the last year, you were bombing every single building in Gaza, hospitals, schools, whatever, to basically turn Gaza into a parking lot for what? Your own interests? For folks who want to build hotels that they've published online the plans for? I mean, it's despicable, and everybody knows it. He's the problem. I mean, Iran, like you said, they don't want this either.
Yeah. All right, we'll have to see where that heads. Coming up next, a reporter for the Free Press says that a Pennsylvania education guru has received millions in public funding to promote segregation in schools. We'll tell you about that. Stay tuned.